Sorry, guys. I was blowing my nose. I was trying to hurry before I got on, but I couldn't hurry. So welcome in, everybody. If you guys couldn't tell, I have a little Happy Thanksgiving banner going, so I couldn't tell when the end of the music was, or the end of the video, actually. So, how's everybody doing today? How is everybody doing? OHIO. I'm surprised I don't actually have something Ohio on. I usually don't, though, whenever I'm streaming, but whenever I'm not streaming, I'm wearing something Ohio. I'm an Ohioan. I guess I'm proud of it. I used to just be a manager of a store that sold Ohio shirts, so I accumulated a ton of them. And when I say a ton, I mean a ton. I wear them all the time. So I just wanted to say welcome into a couple people, everybody. And if you guys, I turned it on subscriber only just because we only have a couple mods, and sometimes the chat gets a little like overwhelming or underwhelming. It just depends. It's either or, really. Here it's either or. So that's why it's on subscriber, but it's subscriber for any amount of time. And then if you decide you're like, hey, I don't really care for the channel, you can unsubscribe. It's very easy. And I don't think that you'll unsubscribe. I think you'll like at least the chat if you don't like me. So they'll at least win your heart over. So welcome in, Stephanie. Beat Mary Beth. Hey, Mary Beth. Hey, Cat's Life. How are you doing? Lenore's here. Sailor's here. DM. Jen's here. Hi, Jen. Hey, Cat's Life. How are you doing? Hey, Catherine. Tempest. Sorry, I had to cough. Ladybug. I was going to say, where's Ladybug? I knew she'd be in here, but where is she? Well, it's good to see everybody. We're going to go over it's an older case, but it's a new case. So it's still going on after all these years. I mean, it's incredible. You thought that Sarah Boone, you thought that case was long. Hey, Blondini. Welcome in. Hey, JoJo. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Hey, Proud Mimi. What have you guys been up to today? Anything fun? Everybody getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow? Hey, Queen Olive. And happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you guys tomorrow. If, you guys don't come on the internet. I don't know. Maybe you won't. But I am going to go live. I'm going to try to go live, which I'll be here. Hey, Groovy Nikki. Wizard Walt's here. I saw that you commented on something earlier, and I was going to comment and be like, hey, get over there. We're about to go live. And it's good to see you, Queen Olive. It's good to see everybody. I'm probably missing people, but I'm sorry. My eyes they're not good. They're not good at all. Lake Girl, how are you doing? I'm having a good day. I hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you, Proud Mimi. Oh, thank you. That'll help because I had to buy some wine tonight, and I normally don't. I haven't bought wine since like forever ago. But my mom always told me you never go to someone's house without taking something with you, right? So I'm going to my brother's tomorrow. So I appreciate that. You guys talked me into it. No, I talked to you guys and I talked myself into it. Hey, Sirius. Well, I hope that you guys all have people coming in, and I hope that if you are by yourself tomorrow, just for a little bit, because I will be on at some point, so don't worry. You'll at least have me to come and hang out with for a little bit. But I hope at least you'll take the day to yourself and just, look around see the things that you are grateful for and thankful for and all of that, because that's what I'm going to try to do. You have nothing to do tomorrow, Late Girl? See, I normally I wouldn't, but I haven't seen my brother in like 2 years. Yeah. And so my niece, quick story time. My niece reached out to me and she's like, I love and miss you and this and that. And I'm like, she's like 16. What's she want? You know what I mean? Because, she's in her thing. Like she's on, like when she was little, she was all about me. But, now that she's older, she just does her own thing. So when she reached out, I was like, that's really sad. Like, I felt so bad. I was like, I feel really bad for her. Like, I should be there. And so then I reached out to my brother and I said, hey, do you want me to come? Because Lena, that's her name. I was like, she wrote me and I'm kind of just trying to figure out what's going on. And he's like, yeah, I really do. And so then it made me feel even better that my brother wanted to see me, because it's been like 2 years. Like, y'all, where'd the time go? I don't know. I don't know where it went, but we're gonna make up for lost time. So I went and got Vincent a new shirt because I love to have something new, and I got me a new skirt, and we're gonna look fashionable tomorrow. And I still got to get the pictures off of this camera from the wedding. Don't let me forget about that. He has 5 days off or something like that. He'll get those pictures though. Hey, Doodlebug, hit that like button and then we'll get started. We'll get started on this case. No, we'll go ahead and we'll get started. But thank you all for being here. I do appreciate you guys being here. You could be anywhere, you know. I'm sure there's other lives going on that you could be in, but you're over here with me, and I appreciate that. 11 months. Look at that. 11 months, Ladybug. One more month and your arm will turn to a rainbow color. It's going to look cool. Man, 11 months. I didn't even know it had been that long. It feels like it's been that long, but you know, it feels like you've been here a while. I'm grateful for you. Doodlebug, no, Tanya, make them wait. Most people would. Most people would, or they'd put up one of those stupid polls that says, I've done that before. I've done that once or twice, I think. Have you hit the like button? Don't you make me do a poll. You know what? Actually, I didn't even like my own video. So there we go. I liked my own video. I got to 39. Let me see. I do have some notes up here because we're going to be using some notes tonight. This case was started in 2016. So it's been a little while, but it's still going to this day. And so we're going to do a deep dive into this whole case. I've got a lot to show you, and it's going to take a few lives. So we're going to concentrate on tonight is the Rhoden family, and those are the victims in this case. So that's who we're going to be talking about. But before we talk about them, one more piece of, I don't know, business. Diddy's bail got denied. So Diddy will be eating peanut butter and jelly Sammies tomorrow for Thanksgiving. So I wanted to let you guys all know that. I didn't get that put on the community post yet. So, but I did use Canva, and I will be using Canva for like a lot of the presentations. That way I can give you guys some visuals as we go along this case, because I'm using a lot of podcasts. So it's going to be a lot of listening. So I want to give you guys a lot, of visuals to go with them. Just to let you know though. But I grew up about 30 minutes from Piketon. It's a small town in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. I mean, literally, like it's in the middle of nowhere. I think that we used to go there to hang out at one of our friends' house because his mom was never home. Yeah, we were bad. We were so bad. Driving that far too. We shouldn't have been doing that. So the Piketon Massacre, or they call it the Piketon shootings, some people do, occurred on the night of April 21st, 22nd of 2016. When 8 people got shot, all belonging to the Rhoden family. So 8 members of the same family, all shot and killed, execution style, while they were in their homes. 7 of the victims, 6 adults and a 16-year-old boy, were discovered to have been shot execution style in 3 adjacent houses, while the 8th victim, an adult male, was found shot to death in his camper and nearby like Piketon. So they lived like on the outskirts of Piketon, and this was like more in Piketon. 3 young children were there also, including 2 infants, and they were physically unharmed. Just the saddest thing though, because they are sitting in between their unalived parents, these children that were spared. It's devastating. This case will get you happy, glad, mad, all of the things. It's going to give you all the things. Investigators believe the murders were premeditated and that the perpetrators were known to the Rhoden family, and they thought that from the beginning. Pretty much. On April 25th, the Ohio Attorney General's office confirmed the presence of marijuana cultivation, and I talked about this last night, and cockfighting operations at some of the crime scenes, but did not confirm a direct connection to the killings. So at first, a lot of people, it had come out that they had like this grow operation. And when we're talking about like grow operation, I'm talking about like hundreds of thousands of dollars, I guess, like worth of marijuana. Because I'm like, why would someone do that? Someone had to explain it to me. So then it came out with, so then we were like, oh, people were like, it was a cartel hit. And people were thinking that. So then it was, cockfighting. People were like rumoring that these people would do like cockfighting. And I don't know if that ended up being like confirmed. It says that the attorney general confirmed it, but I don't know. Our attorney general at the time, he's our governor now. I don't know. It was attorney Mike DeWine, or governor, I guess now. But the ensuing investigation, this investigation here for this family was the largest in Ohio's history. So they were hauling out homes. I've never seen anything like this before, like on the news, or they would have like drones, helicopters. They were afraid that people, instead of like posting somebody at the crime scene to make sure nobody came there to like mess with it, like they did in Idaho, they just posted that, that security officer. They took these trailers, because most of them were trailers or homes or whatever they were, and they took them and put them on flatbed trucks and hauled the crime scenes away from the actual, scene of the crime, scene of the crime. It was I'm telling you, you guys are going to be very like, whoa, when it comes to this case. So getting you pumped up here. So let's see, what did I want to show you guys? I was going to go over this. So let me share this with you guys. Yeah, this first, so I can tell you a little bit about the family. Okay. So, and they may go over this in the podcast too. I was listening to it earlier. I don't remember hearing that part though of it. But I want to go over it with you as well. So this is the Rhodens, and I'm going to kind of tell you the family tree and where they, who died kind of together. So cousins Christopher Rhoden Sr. and Gary Rhoden were found dead at the same location. Chris's ex-wife Dana and two of their three children, Hannah and Chris Jr., were found dead at Dana's home. And yeah, this family, went through a divorce, but she still lived on the property. Like, that was just a thing that people do. Clarence Frankie Rhoden and his fiancee, Hannah Gilly, were found at the third property. And then hours later, officers found cousin Kenneth Rhoden dead at another home miles away. So the only child, and just keep this in the back of your mind, the only child not present at the time of the murders is Hannah Rhoden's 2-year-old daughter, who is with her father, Edward Jake Wagner. 3 other small children survived the murders unharmed. They were just placed between their parents, and that's where they were. No, not in this one here. But, well, the grandma is one of the ones that orchestrated it. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving too, Walt. So this is 8 people. Oh, man. And when I heard about the children laying with their mothers and their father, that's savage. That's freaking savage. That is so savage that I can't even put a word to that. That's worse than that. It's worse than savage. Let me present this here, and we'll go over this. Oh, I hate when it does that. Okay. So it's the same picture. I could find some, but I couldn't find a whole lot of pictures of the Rhodens. I mean, most of them didn't have their names on them. And they were kind of blurry because this is from 2016. So it's from a little while ago, where like, I feel like back then, even like 2014, 2016, like people weren't taking videos and pictures like they do now. So found dead were 40-year-old Christopher Rhoden Sr., 37-year-old Dana Rhoden, 20-year-old Hannah Gilley, 16-year-old Christopher Rhoden Jr., 20-year-old Clarence Frankie Rhoden, 37-year-old Gary Rhoden, 19-year-old Hannah Rhoden, and 44-year-old Kenneth Rhoden. Christopher Rhoden Sr. and his ex-wife Dana Rhoden, who were parents to Clarence Frankie Christopher Jr. and Hannah Rhoden. Hannah Gilley was Frankie's fiance. Gary Rhoden was a cousin of the family. 3 children, a 4-day-old infant, 4 days old, a 6-month-old, and a 3-year-old were found unharmed in the homes. Like a 4-day-old. What if somebody didn't come over there the next day? Yeah, one shot they are. Yeah, I got them up too, just in case we get that far. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, everybody coming in. It is. It's a really sad case. We're going to play this podcast. This podcast was, I like her, Courtney Armstrong, Stephanie Linedecker, those 2 ladies. They did the Idaho Massacre podcast. So this is their first podcast that they had done. And then their second one was the Idaho. And we watched every episode of the Idaho one, and they're all out on my pre-records. So if you don't want to, if you want to cut through the bull crap of a live, you can get it pre-recorded. I have pre-recorded them. I might even do that with these ones as well. So let me share this tab with you. And then I did get some photos to put up as like we're watching this, but some of the photos, I just couldn't get a lot that were like unlocked. So I need to get them off of my phone. I hate when they do that, when they lock up the images. Yeah, Queen Olive. Yeah. No, Mr. Rosebud, it's even worse than that. You know what I mean? This is like the Hatfield and McCoys. This is like Jillian and Veronica. Just remember their case, Like this is what it reminds me of. This is what it reminds me of a lot of. But we'll go ahead and we'll start playing this, and we'll listen to this. It's going to be pretty good. Oh, also, if we do have enough time, maybe tonight, or maybe if not tonight, I have a funny video I want to show you guys, and you'd have to wear a diaper because you pee your pants. Like, I mean, it's that bad. It's that funny. Like, let's just say 2 creators went off on each other last night or the night before, and it's pretty funny. So we might have to play it on the second channel.
A production of iHeartRadio and KT Studios.
This is 911. Can I help you? 911. I think my brother-in-law's dead.
It was an unimaginable crime.
There's blood all over the house.
It was the second biggest mass murder in 2016, behind the Pulse nightclub shooting.
8 people dead, all from the same family.
It would become the largest criminal investigation in Ohio's history.
Pike County sheriffs requested state help immediately after they got word.
In the early morning of April 22nd, 2016, 8 members of the Rhoden family were brutally murdered, shot to death execution style in their homes. 8 victims, 32 gunshot wounds, 3 children left alive at the scenes.
32 gunshot wounds.
This is
a lot.
The Piketon Massacre.
They believe that there is a shooter or shooters out there somewhere.
Wherever they are, they were trying to possibly...
What's that, 4-piece?
Episode 1, Daddy's Playing Zombie.
Congrats, DM, on your 1 year. And thanks, Doodlebug, for 15 months. That's awesome.
Piketon, Ohio is a rural town located on the Scioto River, just 60 miles south of Columbus. It's home to 2,200 residents, and the people of Piketon say that because the town is so small, neighbors really look out for each other and treat each other like family.
It was a good, wonderful area to grow up in. We lived in the country, and, we rode horses on the road. We rode bikes to each other's houses, and we played, the kids in the neighborhood played together all the time.
I slept the whole time I was a kid with my window wide open. There's no way you could do that now. There's no way. This place was wonderful. Everybody took care of everybody. And now it's like a whole different place.
The Rhoden family lived in Piketon for generations. In fact, this close-knit family all lived within miles of each other and were a beloved fixture in the community. It's part of what makes this story so heartbreaking and disturbing. 8 members of the Rhoden family, ranging in age from 16 to 44, were murdered. Each killed execution style over one night in 4 different locations. The only known witnesses, the 3 small children left alive at the scenes. The Rhoden family was literally being hunted.
That they couldn't talk. They left kids that couldn't talk, that wouldn't talk.
I'm Courtney Armstrong, a television producer who helped make a documentary about the case for NBC Universal's Oxygen Network in 2019. Since it aired, the team and I at KT Studios haven't stopped thinking about the case. With trials on the horizon, there are new details and theories to explore. By all accounts, April 22nd, 2016 was an ordinary spring day in rural Pike County. But that would be far from the truth. Here's Barbara, longtime Piketon resident.
I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that day. I had gone into the office at the high school to pick Brittany up for an appointment. And when I walked in, they had a TV on, and everyone in there was sitting with their mouths hanging open. And I was like, what's going on in here? And the secretaries said, my God, there's been a shooting. They said 6 people were killed. And she said, we are very worried because little Chris Rhoden didn't show up today. And we think he might be one of them. Everyone was just in shock.
So little Chris, law enforcement, because they couldn't find him, there was some speculation early on that he might have been involved.
For the residents of Piketon, there was little more than confusion at this point. People knew there was a shooting and that Chris Rhoden Jr., the 16-year-old freshman at Piketon High, was missing. Where was the teen? It was at the home of Chris Rhoden Sr. that the nightmare began. Chris Rhoden Sr. was known to be a strong, hardworking family man.
He was, a great father. He was a good man, just like the rest of the guys, in that family. He would do anything for anybody.
He and Dana Rhoden were married for 22 years, and although they divorced, they remained close. So close that Chris Sr. had recently bought Dana a home on the same road he lived on, Union Hill Road. He did it so they could stay close to their children. Chris Sr.'s cousin Gary Rhoden was more like a brother to him and often stayed at his place. Little Chris's aunt, Bobby Jo, who also lived nearby, was the first to make the gruesome discovery at 7:49 a.m. when she came to feed the dogs at Chris Sr.'s house.
911.
So basically, I'll kind of tell you just a little bit of the layout. You kind of saw it in the overlays. Like here's a picture of it's kind of like a compound in a way. Like they'll put, they'll buy a bunch of land and they'll put a bunch of, homes on there, either trailers, campers, homes, whatever they, can put on there. And they'll live as a unit. The whole family will live on the same property. That's why there was 8, or 6 people on the same property at once. And they ranged in age, and there was, adults, and, it wasn't like there was just 2 adults and all kids. It was 4 adults, 5 adults. It was, or 6 adults, I believe. And then some children there. So.
Yes, I need help.
That's just how they do it in Southern Ohio.
Let's go. Hold on. I need to tell me the address. What's the address? Just a second. We walked to the mailbox. I think my brother-in-law's dead. There's blood all over the house. Okay. My brother-in-law's in the bedroom. It looks like someone has beat the hell out of him.
Patriarch of the family, Chris Rhoden, was dead. He looked like he'd been beaten to death. His cousin Gary, who was staying with Chris, was also dead.
Yeah. What's his name? Chris Rhoden and Gary Rhoden. Chris and Gary Rhoden? Both of them in there look like they're dead. You think
There
they're
they
both
are.
dead? I think they're both dead. Looks like someone has beat the fuck out of them. Okay. Is there anybody else in the house? Not that I know of. Okay. The door was locked when we got here, but I know where the key was at. And I went in, and they were laying on the floor. Bobby, I need you to get out of the house and wait. I'm done out. Okay? I'm standing outside right now. Okay, just stay out of the house. Don't let anybody go in there, okay? Yeah. All right. We got deputies on the way, okay? Thank you. You're welcome.
So I was trying to see where I just saw it. Oh, okay. So Bobby Joe Manley was who made the 911 call. She's the one that the bodies were first discovered, by her. And she is the sister of victim Dana Rhoden. She came to feed the pets at the homes. So she was going to be there in the morning to, I guess, feed the pets.
Dispatch says 40-year-old Christopher Rhoden was the only one of the 8 family members who was shot somewhere other than the head. He had multiple gunshot wounds to the head, torso, and extremities.
We found out, the news broke overnight and saw the emails, saw the alerts, the initial news coverage, and we all knew this was a big deal.
James Pilcher is an investigative reporter who was assigned to cover this story.
Chris Rhoden Sr. may have been awake when the intruders came in.
I guarantee
at
it.
least there's some indication of that.
Or something will
he
come
was
up.
shot 9 times, but he was shot in the forearm, which seems to mean that he may have raised his arm in defense. His cousin Gary got shot twice in the head and once in the face, and one was execution style and it had a muzzle stain. It was that close to his temple.
Even for a multiple murder scene, this stood out as being particularly violent. Wood fragments found on Chris's body indicate he was dragged through the house. Blood was everywhere. Was it a robbery, a serial killer, a random thrill kill? And if it wasn't random, why were these 2 men targeted? I spoke with Mike Allen, criminal defense attorney from Ohio. Are you able to talk about the scenes themselves?
If you look at it, and it's all from the autopsy reports, Chris.
So when Dana went in, I think in her mind, maybe gunshot wounds wouldn't like register with her. Maybe she would think, oh, they've been beaten up. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe you couldn't see the actual like bullet or, because it had entered into the, the person. But yeah, she thought at first that they had just gotten beat up really, really bad and that they were dead, but that it was that they had taken a beating. And in reality, they were shot in the head.
Senior's autopsy report says that they believe that he was awake when he was confronted by at least one person with a gun. He got 9 gunshot wounds, and one of them apparently was a defensive wound to his right forearm that shattered the bone. He was also shot in the torso and cheek, according to that report. Then Chris Sr.'s cousin, Gary, and they're all kind of related here, he was shot twice in the head and once in the face. One of the shots, reports indicate that the gun was pressed to the side of his head, leaving a gunpowder mark that's called a muzzle stain. Those kind of injuries leaves no doubt that this was an intentional, or these all were intentional killings, kind of designed to send a message to someone.
The muzzle mark sticks in my mind. You have to be obviously arm's reach. You are locking eyes with the victim, it would seem. Does that paint any kind of picture or indicate to officers or attorneys anything?
Sure it does. And maybe even closer than arm's length. Maybe just inches. That indicates that the shot was fired right on top of the person, and it indicates to me, at least, especially when you have The number of shots like that here, that somebody was trying to send a message, I don't think there can be any doubt about that. It's personal. I mean, it was personal, and I think that's what that demonstrates.
Yeah, take out a whole family. That's pretty personal.
We're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in a moment.
Like many of us, you might think.
I mean, to take out 8 family members, I would consider that extremely personal.
Identity theft applications.
Only on Hulu.
I'm not a detective.
Jim, you're what? I'm eating healthy.
I'm Audie Cornish, host of The Assignment.
People are dead by 12 gunshot wounds.
With Audie Cornish on the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, Dark Willow. Hey, KCG. Hey, Miss Lynn. Welcome in, everybody.
At this point, Bobby
Happy
Joe sees 2
Thanksgiving.
people are dead by 12 gunshot wounds. While waiting desperately for police to arrive, she makes her way over to her nephew Frankie's house. She wanted to get some help and to tell him what had happened to his father and uncle, whose bodies she had just found.
She shouldn't have done that.
Frankie Rhoden was Chris.
I mean, like, if there was one thing we could do, I wish we could just turn her around and say, don't go do that.
Senior and Dana's oldest son. The 20-year-old was a father to 2 boys, 3-year-old and 6-month-old. Like his parents, Frankie was a hard worker. He loved fishing, hunting, and demolition derby, but nothing so much as his family and his fiancée, 19-year-old Hannah Gilley. Hannah Gilley was on the homecoming court in high school, and at that time she told friends she planned to go to college, get a business degree, and open a daycare.
Frankie and Hannah wanted a lot of kids. They had a bright future.
The young family lived together just up the street from Chris Sr., also on Union Hill Road. They were looking forward to getting married soon. Here's reporter Jeff Winkler recounting the details of what happened that night based on his reporting.
So after Bobby Joe made the call to 911, she went to Frankie's house right nearby. And the person who came to the door was Frankie's 3-year-old son. And was, as the police reports and newspaper reports showed, he was, covered in blood. And he, like any 3-year-old, he sort of didn't fully understand what was going on. And he told his aunt that, his father was playing zombie in the bedroom. And that's because the family were fans of The Walking Dead. And so, was in there with his father playing zombie, which is, absolutely heartbreaking.
Bobby picked up her nephew and made her way inside. She finds 2 more victims. Frankie was shot 3 times in the head. His fiancée, Hannah Gilley, was shot 5 times in total, with 1 shot to her left eye. They were both in bed with their 6-month-old baby. Thankfully, the infant was spared. Meanwhile, and this is all happening around 8 a.m. on April 22nd, Bobby Joe calls their brother James. She's in hysterics. There's now 2 murder scenes, 4 people dead, 20 gunshot wounds, 2 children left alive at the scenes. James immediately goes over to his sister Dana's house to check on her and the remaining kids. Dana Rhoden was a nurse known for her gregarious nature and loving smile. She'd met Chris Rhoden Sr. when she was just in high school, and it was love at first sight. Even though they divorced 22 years later, they remained very close. Together, the pair had 3 beautiful children, 20-year-old Frankie, Hannah Mae, and little Chris.
She's good-hearted, a lot of fun, always laughing, cracking up. She was a very, very good person. She sent me a text. She said, "My grandbaby's here." And I said, "Well, congratulations." I said, "She's beautiful. What did Hannah Mae name her?" She said, "Kylie Mae." And I said, "That's so pretty." And that was the last thing I ever heard from Dana.
This particular April seemed extra special because Hannah Mae had just given birth to her second daughter 5 days prior. Just weeks before that, Dana threw Hannah Mae a big baby shower at their new house. The pictures from the shower show what a happy celebration it was. Sadly, James, Dana's brother, was about to enter yet one more unimaginable scene. Dana and her 19-year-old daughter, Hannah Mae, were both dead. Like the rest of the family, they were shot execution style. Dana 3 times in the right side of her head and once under her chin. Hannah was shot twice in the head, lying in bed with her newborn daughter, just 5 days old. The infant was spared alive, and thankfully Hannah's older daughter, Sophia, just 2 years old at the time, was not at the house at the time of the murders. This brings us back to when Dana's son, the high school freshman Chris Jr., was nowhere to be found. It took detectives several hours to locate him, but finally little Chris was found in the home with his mother Dana and his sister Hannah Mae. He'd been shot 4 times in the head.
Wow.
There's now 7 people dead, 31 gunshot wounds, and 3 children left alive at the scenes. The once small and sleepy town became the epicenter for a grisly crime and the subsequent complex murder investigation. When it was all said and done,
Happy
2 families
Thanksgiving,
would be
Rebels.
destroyed and the town would never be the same.
I love that
Here's Jeff
Annie
Winkler.
Oakley name.
It was a long-form article he'd written on the case that originally piqued our interest.
I'm a writer and journalist based in Flyover, so I cover a lot of stuff that happens away from the coast. The Rhoden case, I remember seeing coverage of it in 2016 as it was happening on live TV, and there was a helicopter flying over the property, and it was just one of those things that seemed like it was straight out of Southern noir. The crime is as complex as it is gruesome because all the victims, except for one, were found on the same sort of back road in Piketon, and they were all found gunned down on the same night and all had gunshots to the head. This was a incredibly well executed execution of several people.
Here again is criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, and judge Mike Allen.
It hit this area like a ton of bricks. I mean, boy, the local media down here were all over this thing. I mean, like white on rice. So, yeah, it's a big deal.
Do you have any theories? Because I've spoken to people and they're all, I guess, just theories. But why do you spare the children? Is that some line a killer won't cross, or what does that tell you?
Yeah, and it's a really good question. I guess it shows that, I don't know, the killers wanted to demonstrate that they have some humanity left in them and just would not kill infants. I guess that's small consolation, but I don't know, it probably is some kind of code thing, but they did find it within their hearts to spare the infants and the children. You know, as brazen and as violent as these killings were, I guess they just couldn't bring themselves to do it to small children and an infant.
Yeah, a 5-day-old. I mean, that's
crazy.
It's insanity. And not just one person did this. You're going to find out. It's going to blow your mind.
For the quiet town, the scene was unreal. Nearly 7 hours after the first bodies were found, at 1:26 p.m. on April 22nd, a final fatal discovery.
911, can I help you? Yeah, I need a deputy to come out to close to 799 Left Fork. Okay. It's all this stuff that's on the news. I just found my cousin with a gunshot wound. Okay. Sir, is she alive? No. Okay. I'll be standing out by the roadway going. What's your name, sir? Donald Stone. Donald Stone? Donald Stone. Stone? Yeah, I'm his cousin. What's his name? Kenneth Rhoden. Kenneth Rhoden? Yeah. Okay, sir. Are you out of the house? I'm out of the house right now. I just went in, hollering at him, and checked. He's all right now. And I looked up at him. He had a gunshot wound. Okay, sir. We're going to get deputies out there to you, okay? Okay. All right. Bye.
A few miles down Union Hill Road was Chris Rhoden Sr.'s brother, Kenneth. The 44-year-old was shot once through his right eye. Kenneth's cousin Donald Stone went to check on Kenneth after hearing about the murders of their 6 other family members. He'd failed to hear from Kenneth that day. Here's Jeff Winkler.
There were a lot of breaking news moments during the first day, and the details just kept piling up, and more police, more law enforcement would show up, and the body count got larger and larger. And then I think the real sort of twist and the real sort of what the heck has happened moment was when, nearly 7 hours after the first bodies were found at around 1:30 p.m., there is finally another body of Kenneth. And he was found, as well as the others, as, shot execution style.
Man.
And in this case, he was covered with dollar bills that were strewn about his body. And it's just sort of, God, I mean,
Yeah, I wonder what's up with the dollar bills. We'll
make this
find
up.
out. We'll find out through the investigations.
Let's stop here for another quick break. We'll be back in a moment.
Oh, another break.
How deep does a mother's love run? For incredible. So what? Ergot is fun and
Never been afraid to dig deep. She's a reliable.
Wow! Include a UNES QR
By the time officials release
or bonus. See terms and conditions at unes.co.
By the time officials released the names of the 8 victims, Piketon residents were reeling.
They had snuck in the night and committed these murders, and nobody had a clue about, a who or a why. And that's really scary.
There were rumors about who had done the crime everywhere, online, in the coffee shops, amongst the police. I mean, everyone was talking about who could have done it and why they would have done it.
In 2 days of the murder, officials would make another shocking announcement.
I'm going to let Attorney General DeWine speak.
Sheriff, thank you very much.
This is Mike DeWine, then Attorney General of Ohio, at a news conference on April 24th, 2016.
That's the guy I told y'all about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, and I think it's okay for us to confirm that we did find marijuana in three locations.
Grow operations?
It's a grow operations.
Here's Jeff Shane. We worked together on the case, and he reached out to Jody Barr, an investigative reporter who was working in Cincinnati at the time of the murders.
Let's run through some of the theories, what people were saying might have happened.
So there were a lot
of cartel was a lot. They were saying it was somebody that knew the family. They didn't think it was anybody from that town, though, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that they ever thought that.
Theories.
Jody has followed the crime and investigation for years.
We got all of these tips in, and we're trying to make sense of these tips, vet them, see if there's anything that could indicate who did it, why they did it, what caused someone to kill 8 people of the same family. So, the one theory that sort of became the prevailing idea of what might have happened here was the drug cartel theory. And, that came about because, hours after the murders, Attorney General Mike DeWine and Pike County Sheriff Charlie Reeder are standing at a press conference, and DeWine tells the public that they found commercial grow operations at 3 of the 4 crime scenes.
Another theory was that the murders could have been the result of a dispute with another family in the area. Here's Jody Barr again.
We had gotten word that apparently Chris Jr. had some sort of road rage or some sort of incident with another family in the area some days before this. And there were some messages, social media messages exchanged that could have indicated a possible motive. So that was one theory. As I got on the ground over there and you started talking to some of these family members and you talked to some of the neighbors, some of the people who knew the Rhodens, it became clear that either people knew or had a very good idea about what happened, but they absolutely would never say it because I think they were afraid. Because at that point in time, whoever did this had not been arrested. There have been no persons of interest named. So, if you lived in that area, man, it was hush hush. You were just kind of walking around looking over your shoulder, it seemed, with some of these people, not knowing, who could be next, who did it.
This is, again, Jeff Winkler.
The majority of those theories rested on, it was a cartel. It was a cartel hit because the family was growing marijuana on their property. Was it a rival marijuana farm in the area? Was it, were the killings related to the family disputes that were going on with various members of adjacent families? And no one quite knew, but they all had a bunch of theories.
With the town living in fear, investigators worked around the clock to bring the killers to justice.
Mike DeWine is, and again, I know him, but he's not a friend or anything, but he really is a professional, and he was a professional prosecutor. I mean, that's how he started his political life, and he ran this thing like...
That's why I call him Attorney Mike DeWine, because I keep forgetting he's the governor now. Governor.
A prosecutor or a law enforcement officer would. And I'll tell you what, there is just no way that the sheriff's office or the prosecutor's office up there could have handled this thing by themselves. And that's no knock on them. It's just that they don't have the resources for something like this.
There were in some of the news conferences, Sheriff Reeder was out telling people to arm themselves as a precaution.
In a small county like that, and just the horrific nature of these things, I don't know that would have not been good advice. I mean, obviously, they'd have to do it legally with a concealed carry license and the legal right to carry a firearm, but people just didn't know what the heck was going on up there. I mean, you had all the different theories bouncing around, and it's a rural county up there. So if I were living out there and I was legally able to carry a firearm, I think I would.
I would have. We did. Everybody had their gun ready in Ohio during this time. It didn't matter where you were from in Ohio. Everyone. You didn't know who it was. You didn't know who could have done this. Especially growing up in the smaller towns like around this town. I mean, they're all small. I was at one county away from this county.
For 2 years, not a single arrest was made. How could the largest massacre in Ohio's history, with so much blood, so many bullets, and so many victims, still be unsolved? The questions abound. Who's doing this? Is it many people? Is it one? How did they get away with it? If the scene was so messy, how did they clean up? The 4 crime scenes all had dead bodies, but the MOs were different. Chris and Gary's was the most violent and bloody. 2 of the other ones had children left alive. And in the 4th, Kenneth was found with dollar bills all over him. With the victims all being shot at close range, we know that the killers and victims were eye to eye. How did nobody hear anything? Could it be a cover-up? And would another family be next? And then, on November 13th, 2018...
Well, good afternoon.
We finally got an update on the case.
We promised that the day would come when arrests would be made in the Pike County massacres.
This is Mike DeWine, the state's then Attorney General. He's at a press conference.
Yesterday, a Pike County grand jury indicted 4 individuals for aggravated murder with death penalty specifications.
Hold on.
For alleged.
Hold on a second. I didn't know we were going to get to this. I didn't know we were going to get to this part. Okay. Let me just, I got to give you guys a picture, a visual. Maybe that will work. If not, let's go here. It is so hard sometimes to pull up pictures just for just like from the news and stuff. Okay. I got one. Now we'll play it.
Allegedly committing this heartless, ruthless,
hold on.
cold-blooded murder.
For the
Okay.
town of Piketon, with the alleged killers behind bars, the nightmare may have been over. But the mystery has just begun. Who is this family of alleged killers?
Yeah, who are you?
Next time on the Piketon Massacre. Piketon Massacre is executive produced by Stephanie Lydecker and me.
Guess you're just going to have to wait to find out. So this is going to end with the Wagner family. And that's who they're going to tell is, I was trying to get all that back together. That's who, planned out this, this horrific crime. And we'll tell you all about the Wagners in the next live, and we'll tell you all about more about the Rhodens also. This podcast is 4 seasons deep. I don't think that we'll have to watch every episode. I don't know what they could tell us, but we will. I mean, we can. I don't mind. And I'm glad that you guys were all here and you guys came to check out a new case. That really means a lot to a creator, especially when I worked hard trying to get all the stuff together for tonight and everything. So it means a lot when you guys come and, you enjoy the chat and everything. So that makes me happy. And I'm glad that we're all here for, so I can say happy Thanksgiving to you guys as well. Cause I will forget. No, I won't. I won't forget. I'll probably make a community post and make a cute little, happy Thanksgiving poster or something to put on there. But I was seeing if Vincent was on his way home. If he wasn't, I was going to jump over to the other channel. Cat's Life has a page. When they arrested them, I almost forgotten about this case. I did one shot. I was on top. And man, I really wanted to find out what happened with the Rhodens. I didn't know them personally. I mean, even growing up so close, because everybody in that area knows everybody through somebody. I mean, it's just how life goes, when you live in a small town. And I thought that for sure that it wouldn't take 2 years, right, to find some people to charge for this. Now we still have one person that's going on trial. I've saw a lot of stuff coming up about him. And so I think that, and I mean, a lot of people might pick this case up. I'm not sure, but if they don't, we're going to be over here deep diving into it because it is a very interesting case. I just wanted to get I wanted to get the murder part out first, and then, go in chronological kind of order. Oh, I keep, how am I not at the bottom? Hey, Pandan. No, so this family, you'll find out soon. I don't want to give you guys too much, but they're include the Rhodens and them know each other pretty well. But yeah, I know it's pretty good. Let's see. What was this? What was I looking at earlier? August. That got us to to 2000. Yeah, we can go through some of this. This is the timeline. It'll have some of the photos, the videos on it as well. Because I didn't know that they were going to actually say who did it, who was suspected of doing it. Now I do remember I lived in Chillicothe when this when they were arrested, because I remember them talking about Circleville, they were in Circleville and there was a bunch of people trying to find them or something like that. And I just remember I was I live 20 minutes from there. I hope nothing crazy pops off here, because we've had crazy things pop off in my town. We had a guy unalive an officer and then escaped the county jail. And he was found over near where my parents lived. He was out on the run for 3 or 4 days. That would have been a good case to cover. But I was 19. Should have covered it. Didn't think about true crime then as much. So it says 8 members of the Rhoden family were found shot to death in their homes. The crime scene spanned multiple family homes throughout the area. 7 family members were found dead in 3 different homes on Union Hill Road in Piketon. The 8th victim was found within 10-minute drive of the others. Let's replay this. This is right when this was like right when it happened. Oh, I'm not showing it to you guys.
That
There we
shooting
go.
scene is near the border with
Sorry.
Adams County. Police are investigating at least 3 different locations on or near Union Hill Road, which is northeast of Peebles. Chopper 9 was over the area at noon today as the investigation was underway. At least 2 of the victims we're told are juveniles, and at least 7 of those victims are believed to be members of the same family. That is according to comments by Attorney General Mike
This is when it
DeWine.
first
He
came
made
out.
those to 700 WLW. It is not known if the gunman is among the dead. Not on Your Side has crews on the scene gathering, and we
He's
will
not.
continue to bring you updates on air on WCPO.com and our mobile app, plus live coverage from Pike County beginning on the Now Cincinnati today at 4 o'clock. We'll see you then.
We'll see you then. And I told you who was all found dead. There was 40-year-old Christopher Rhoden Sr., 37-year-old Dana Rhoden, 20-year-old Hannah Gilly, 16-year-old Christopher Rhoden Jr., 20-year-old Clarence Frankie Rhoden, 37-year-old Gary Rhoden, 19-year-old Hannah Rhoden, and 44-year-old Kenneth Rhoden. Man. Christopher Rhoden Sr. and his ex-wife Dana Rhoden were parents to Clarence Frankie, Christopher Jr., and Hannah Rhoden. Kind of went over all this before. So the two recordings of 911 calls that were released. The first call came from a woman named Bobby at 7:49 a.m. That woman was later identified as Dana Rhoden's sister, which we heard her. She told dispatchers she'd come to feed the animals using a key to get into the home in the 400 block or 4000 block of Union Hill Road, and then found them all dead. That was the home where Chris and Gary Rhoden were found. There was blood all over the house. She told the 911 dispatcher, "My brother-in-law is in the bedroom. Someone beat the hell out of him." In a 911 call recorded that day at 1:26, a man at a home in the 700 block of West Fork Road told dispatchers he walked in calling out for Kenneth Rhoden, his cousin, before finding him shot to death. Kenneth's body was the last body to be discovered. This is aerial
Barn.
view.
And for the first time, we're seeing that third possible location would look like a large barn on a separate property, but very nearby this Union Hill area. And so Dan Carroll's up in Chopper 9 right now.
And he continues to looking over the scene you're talking about. So that's the third area. And we toss it up to Dan with the very latest. And you see, what type of activity do you see from your perspective there, Dan?
And I don't see no marijuana.
Well, yeah, this is during the commercial break, couple of breaks ago, I was
where'd they hide the marijuana?
Looking around the area even farther out, and then we're about another mile or so down the road, and then we see this trailer home, which has crime scene tape around the front of the trailer home, and we saw some what appeared to be police officers and investigators out front there. And then while Jay was talking, we saw this area that appears to be, looks to me to be a junkyard, and we see a mobile home and then a large barn, and then we saw a couple of guys in what appeared to be
it's their junkyard.
hazmat suits and a couple of other personnel walking
They
through
do have
the
some cars
woods
back here, though.
back to what I think is a barn partially blocked by these trees. I'm going to have to go around and get a better look at that. But they walk through between the home and
This
the
is a
barn.
nice
You see
barn.
in the picture here, and then back into this area. And there you can see the two men in the white suits, the white jumpsuits,
They had that wrong on the bottom.
looks
of
like
the
the
screen.
biohazard suits out in this area, and it looks like they may appear to be entering another structure on this piece of property. So earlier, when we were talking about the possibility of 3 different crime scenes, I think we've figured out now exactly what they were talking about. We saw the one home earlier where the majority of the police officers and investigators are gathered. Then about a mile down the road, there's another mobile home and then a second mobile home. And this mobile home is in front of a junkyard, and now it appears they are looking into another building that is on this property. It looks like, to me, to be another barn that they're looking at least checking out the perimeter right now, and maybe preparing to go into that building to find some additional evidence. So we were talking about that earlier, about how widespread this crime scene is, and now that we've had a better chance to get a look at it, we can tell you that is exactly the case, that this is spread out what appears to me to be over about a mile or a mile and a half.
Craziness. You know? I mean, oof. It says, while searching the Rhoden family properties, I think they probably found in maybe one of them barns, officials discovered 3 marijuana grow operations that DeWine called sophisticated. Mike DeWine. The sites were spread across 3 of the 4 locations where the Rhoden family members were found shot to death, leading investigators to initially wonder whether the execution-style killings were motivated or connected to rival rug cartels in the area. At that time, DeWine said the sites and number of plants investigators found indicated a professional operation was underway on the Rhoden's properties. Maybe we'll see something here.
More light being shed tonight on the Pike County massacre that took 8 lives, all from the same family. Pike County Sheriff Charles Reeder says he has a team of 38 deputies searching the woods where the Rhoden family lived. Tonight, we are getting more information about what investigators are finding at 4 crime scenes in Pike County, where 8 members of the Rhoden family were found, shot, and killed. 9 on your sides. TJ Parker is live in Pike County with the latest. TJ?
Well, Julie, Attorney General Mike DeWine says 3 pot-growing operations were found at 3 crime scenes. It's more clues in this very mysterious case.
Wonder what he considers sophisticated grow ops, though.
I don't think pot's a part of it.
It's one drug or another drug around here.
The Pike.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but that's a smoker if I ever seen one before. She said, I don't think pot's a part of the problem. That made me laugh.
I don't think pot's a part of it.
It's one drug or another drug around here.
The Piketon community reacting after learning a pot-growing operation.
That is true for Piketon, you know.
Was found at 3 of the homes where 8 members of the Rhoden family were shot execution style. Community members skeptical, though, pot had anything to do with the murders.
I think it's deeper than that.
This was a pre-planned
smart lady
execution.
That's DeWine.
Of 8 individuals.
Attorney General Mike DeWine telling the media today hundreds of people have.
And then that's Reeder, their officer, sheriff. I think he ended up getting fired for some reason. I'll have to look into that.
Come forward in the search for answers. A team is scattered in the woods surrounding the crime scene, searching for any evidence that may help in the investigation. So far, DeWine says about 60 people have been questioned and 18 pieces of evidence are being examined.
Those who carried it out were trying to do everything that they could do to hinder the investigation and their prosecution.
Sheriff Charles Reeder believes the Rhodens were specifically targeted, and he's warning other family members to be on guard.
I cautioned them that they were a target, and I told them to be armed.
Both Reeder and DeWine believe the community isn't at risk, but is asking for community members to be vigilant.
It is in the interest of the people of the state of Ohio that we find this murderer or these murderers as quick as we can.
Now, DeWine says no information will be released that will hinder their search or their investigation. He says, as for the autopsies, 7 have been completed. The 8th one will be finished tomorrow. We're live in Piketon. I'm TJ Parker, 9 on your side.
I wonder if those were ever released. Like, yeah. Yeah, they do have them. But I was going to see if they had them or actually didn't, if they really had them. Yeah, but it's so redacted. We can go through it though sometime, maybe on our next live, because it's 66 pages. But it's a lot of it's redacted, but thanks, Sherry. and did crooked things in the sheriff's office. Yeah, I know he was like, yeah, I know he's doing some crooked stuff over there. I couldn't remember exactly what. I remember hearing about it because I live so close, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. And it's crazy how many people are from Ohio or around Ohio in here tonight. Definitely won't be alone. We're here. Okay, so we just watched that. So then this brings us to May 2016. And so 2 months later, three trailers and one camper in which the members of the Rhoden family were found dead were boarded up and towed. Remember I told you, from Union Hill Road and left Fork Road weeks after the murders happened. The mobile homes were packed up and moved to storage in a now defunct Hadshell Chemical Processing LLC warehouse on the State Route 220 in Waverly. Wonder if you can go to see that. I bet you could. Then Pike County Sheriff Charles Reeder faced scrutiny for moving the family homes. Never mind. But he insisted they were safe in the warehouse with deputies checking the property hourly.
Crime scenes of 8 family members killed in execution style.
I've seen a regular house be brought and sat down. They wanted to put in a CVS where I grew up. The people that lived in the house where they wanted to put the CVS, they're like, we're not leaving our family home. Like, we love this home. They should have left it they were going to give them a lot of money for it. But instead of taking the money, they had them rent a truck, like a flatbed, to like uproot their home. I don't know how they did it. It was a regular house. Went like a trailer where it was like easier to transport.
3 mobile homes are gone from that scene, and
they're
right now
gone.
crews are trying to figure out how to move a house. Julie O'Neill has more.
Yeah,
on the
trying to figure out how to move the house. Look at that.
County.
Thank
Julie?
you, Gone Girl. Happy
I'm live
Thanksgiving.
at the old Hadshell Chemical Processing Plant, which was turned into
Thank
Command
you.
Central for this massive investigation. Inside this huge metal building behind me, now there are 3 of the 4 trailers that are the crime scenes for these horrific murders now nearly 3 weeks ago. I want to show you some pictures we obtained of one of the trailers en route to this facility. Quite the undertaking. They had to have a lot of sheriff deputies, investigators looking on as crews lifted these homes from their foundation and got them here.
And they
The
probably hadn't
footprint
been
will take a little
lifted.
longer because it has add-on
They probably hadn't been lifted off their foundation since they put them on them.
to it. So it will be here in the next couple of days. The Attorney General told me just a couple of minutes ago this was absolutely necessary.
The whole purpose is to secure them, to make sure that if we need to get in them again, that they'll be readily available. It's also, frankly, taken a real toll as far as law enforcement when we're trying to secure these scenes 24/7.
Attorney General Mike DeWine also telling me that they will be shrink wrapping these trailers as well. If you noticed when you saw that trailer a few moments ago, they're
They
already
did
boarded
too.
up. They absolutely want to preserve this crime scene for future prosecution. As you're looking at this Chopper 9 video here, you can see where the trailers once sat on those concrete slabs. This was very difficult for investigators to continually guard these scenes and be there all the time. So this will help this investigation as it moves forward. As we get new information out here in Pike County, we'll bring it right to you. Live in Pike County, I'm Julie O'Neill, 9 on your side.
Okay. This brings us to October 2016. During a court hearing, Reeder theorized that more than one shooter was involved in the massacre. He warned remaining members of the Rhoden family could still be in danger while police still work to learn who was responsible for the massacre. Well, that's real smart to tell people, you know.
It's been almost 4 months, but people in Pike
4
County say
months.
they still think about April 22nd, a day where 8 members of their community were shot and killed execution style in the middle of the night.
Just seemed like it just happened, really, because you do think about it, a lot.
For the first time publicly, Pike County Sheriff Charles Reeder says there is more than one killer out there.
We've talked about it before, and you always think that it had to be more than one person, and so it makes it even worse.
According to the Columbus Dispatch, Reeder specifically said that 3 children who survived the massacre remain in danger.
If I was in the family, I would be worried.
The 3 kids shouldn't have felt like they were in danger. That if anything would have happened, it would have happened that night.
Which I'm sure they are.
It's surprising to hear that, but
I think
hope they're doing something to keep them safe.
The sheriff
Oh,
was in
they should
juvenile
have been,
court to
though, yeah,
discuss
for
whether
sure.
custody proceedings should be closed to the public. 3 children, a 4-day-old, a 6-month-old, and a 3-year-old were found unharmed at the scenes. 2 of the youngest children are both now currently in foster care.
So sad.
Well, it's still unclear what the motive is behind these shootings. The Attorney General has said more than 24 investigators are working on the case every single day. It's one of Ohio's largest mass murders in history. Reporting live in Pike County, Ashley Zilka, 9
Hey, T.
on your
Salas.
side.
Welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. If you guys don't mind just clicking the like button, that really helps. Look, there I am. Who would have thought? I don't know why I'm like on my own thing, but so October 2016, Reader revealed that he believes it's likely the killers were local and not a cartel-style execution related to rugs found on the property as previously stated or suspected. DeWine said he believed the killers had to be familiar with the land around the properties as well as the properties themselves. And you're exactly right, because it wasn't like they were just lined up trailers, like you had to go back down a lane to get to one. One was a house. I mean, they were all scattered around. If you didn't know, you would have to know that property. You would just have to know. This was the first time law enforcement indicated they were looking in directions other than cartel-related possibilities. Let's see how many. Okay, we'll play these last 2 here. And then we'll save the other
The
one
sheriff's
for our next
talking
slide.
about the case for the first time. We're on State Route 220, some 20 miles from the crime scene. We're here because the trailers where the murders happened are stored inside this building.
This way a half a mile. My daughter is on the right.
Leonard Manley hasn't seen his daughter, Dana Rhoden, since the spring.
Every evening, she's up.
Memories are all that's left on Union Hill Road where her home once stood. What happened here haunts the entire county.
Blood all over the house. Okay. My brother-in-law's in the bedroom.
On April 22nd, Leonard's other daughter called 911 just after dawn. She made the gruesome discovery inside of a trailer that sat here, a mile and a half from her sister Dana's house.
And it looks like I beat the hell out of them.
She didn't know Dana was dead too. Someone wiped out an entire branch of the Rhoden family tree with a couple dozen gunshots in the middle of the night. The sheriff has 8 homicides to solve.
My heart goes out to my county, and my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone.
The only lives spared, 3 babies, the youngest just a few days old. 4 crime scenes spread out along the southwestern edge of Pike County. Several violent suspects on the run. There are no witnesses. At first, there was no motive. Now, 6 long months have passed.
This is one of the awfulest things I've ever seen.
Pike County Sheriff Charles Reader has taken heat for security at a storage building near his office where he moved those trailers, the murder scenes, to keep as evidence.
I believe that we've protected it as well as we can. We are having deputies do hourly checks on that parking lot. I myself do checks on that parking lot.
He knows Leonard and other surviving family members feel cut off from the investigation.
I told them very early that I'd make decisions that wouldn't be popular with them, but in the end they would understand.
But he's ready to talk about the status of the case for the first time.
You're talking from one scene to the second 2 a mile and a half, and from the second 2 to the other one within 11, 12 miles. It wouldn't took a lot to do it very quickly.
Autopsy reports show the victims were shot execution style, most of them multiple times. Investigators found marijuana at all of the crime scenes except in Dana Rhoden's trailer. Federal agents had already suspected a Mexican drug cartel was working in the county.
At this point, do you believe that the Mexican drug cartel is involved?
Absolutely not.
Can you explain why you say that?
With the nature of the investigation and the things that's been revealed while conducting the investigation, there would be no indication to me as to any type of Mexican drug cartel being involved.
What he tells me next officially puts the community on notice.
You're saying that the suspects likely either live in Pike County or in the area somewhere nearby?
Yes, that is my belief.
100% certainty.
That's my belief.
Tim Reagan heads the DEA office in Cincinnati. He tells me what he knows about the case leads him to agree with the sheriff.
I think if there was a strong Mexican cartel connection, I'd feel more comfortable telling you, and I don't see it.
Sheriff Reeder says some of the Rhodens were dealing pot in
not over marijuana. You know what I mean? I don't know.
The area, though drugs likely have nothing to do with the killing. Dana's dad, Leonard Manley, says he hasn't heard from the sheriff.
I'm pretty angry at all of them.
But he also believes the killers are familiar.
Whoever done this had to know the dog, had to know where the security system was.
Leonard tells me even he was a suspect for a time.
They come back and got DNA from me and my grandson and them.
With the focus now on locals, Attorney General Mike DeWine explains investigators have reconstructed every aspect of the victims' lives. He's worked on the case with Sheriff Reeder from the start.
It sounds like you know exactly who you're looking for.
I'm not going to say more than that. What I am going to say is that somebody who will be watching this today knows something that will be helpful to us.
The Rhodens were active in demolition derby. Sheriff Reeder confirmed some of the family was involved in 2 fights not reported to police before the murders.
It wasn't because they had a couple little indoor grows. It wasn't because there was just a couple of cars on the property that may have been stolen. It's much bigger than that.
As for Leonard, he wants to hear from the sheriff.
Well, I'd like to have some answer, but
He wants justice for his family so he can look up the road in peace.
I mean, someone needs to pay for it. I mean, they took 8 innocent lives.
Offering a $10,000 reward to anyone who comes forward with information that leads to a break in this case. The sheriff also tells me that he is ready to start working with a special prosecutor to start.
So $10,000 reward, is that what they said? Well, that's nothing. Okay, you are tight with your money there, Governor DeWine. May 2017, SWAT members and other law enforcement officials searched an Adams County property around 10 miles from where the Rhodens' bodies were found. During the search, authorities took away trailers belonging to the family of a man who had been in a custody dispute with one of the victims. Bernie Brown, who owned one of the sites visited by investigators, said authorities searched 2 large trailers and took 1 smaller utility trailer owned by the Wagners, a local family. Brown said Jake Wagner sometimes worked for him fixing cars and that the Wagners had dropped items off at the property about a week earlier. As the 2-day search unfolded, authorities who investigated a Peterson Road property in Peebles, Ohio, that was sold by Jake and George Wagner in March, county property records showed. Next, they searched the Flying W farm in Pike County, where Frederica Wagner, Jake Wagner's grandmother, owned. Investigators said the search had been for evidence in the Pike County murders. So we'll listen to this one, and this one we'll round up our life with this one.
New details are emerging in the weekend property searches connected to the Rhoden family murders in Pike County. The owner of one of the properties tells the 9 on Your Side I-Team that investigators showed up at his house because of the ex-boyfriend of one of the victims. Investigative reporter Hillary Lake is in Pike County right now tracking this developing story for us. Hillary, what else have you learned?
Well, Craig, Sheriff Reeder has said all along that figuring out who murdered 8 members of the Rhoden family and arresting them is like putting pieces of a puzzle together. That has not changed despite those weekend searches. Here's what I discovered today, and you see on some Chopper 9 footage from last Friday that detectives searching through several trailers on property where a business called Unlimited Motors is located. I spoke with the property owner today who said the trailers and all that stuff belongs to a guy named Jake Wagner and his family. He says the Wagners dropped off the trailers about 10 days ago and he was supposed to store it for them temporarily. A Rhoden family member tells me Jake Wagner is the ex-boyfriend of Hannah Rhoden, a 19-year-old who was shot and killed along with 7 other members of her family last April. She's also the mother of the 4-day-old baby baby that wasn't hurt in the shooting. Jake Wagner and Hannah Rhoden were in a custody dispute over an older daughter they shared, and there were questions if Jake was the father of the 4-day-old. Over the weekend, we confirmed through property records that the other 2 properties investigators searched on Friday and Saturday are also connected to the Wagner family. The Rhoden murders have gone unsolved for 14 months. Police have never identified any suspects except to say they believe whoever did it knew the family well. And I asked Sheriff Reeder today about Jake Wagner's whereabouts. He would not comment. I also reached out to the Attorney General's office, and they're declining to comment about anything that has to do with this investigation about those searches. We're live in Pike County. Hillary Lake, 9 on your side.
Yeah, they really left things like tight to the vest. You know what I mean? They kept it tight to the vest. They didn't want people to mess up the investigation, pretty much, basically. And they did a good job. They did a good job on it. Yeah, no spoilers, everybody. No spoilers, because we're trying to go through this from the beginning. I know what happened, but I don't want you guys to be spoiled, because then, you know, no one will come back for the next episode because they'll know what happened in the case. But let me see here. I think that was all I had for you guys for tonight. And then we'll go over, I'll keep this article that has all these videos. It's really good reference. And then we can go over those. I have another podcast, same podcast, but another episode. They did 4 seasons. So like 30 some minutes a piece, but after you like take it down, so we might do maybe 2 at a time. And after there's like the commercials and stuff, it seems like they're only like, 20 some minutes long. So we might maybe just do 2 of those. But yeah. Yeah, kind of. Some of us know the case, some of us don't know the case. So we're going back to the beginning. Yeah, we're at the beginning. Yeah, this was the first podcast actually that we did. I actually did do some videos. I think I did let me go check. Let me just go check for a second. Well, no, I won't be able to check because I probably didn't have it. Let me see if I put it in an actual playlist, because I thought I did a video over this before. Let me see. Can I wait, filter. Right here. I did, and I did it when I had my little eye patch on. It just says Rhoden family tragedy, October 28th, 2022. So my first year on YouTube. How long is this bad boy? 15 minutes. Okay. That's when you know you're dedicated, is when you have an eye patch on your eye. Like, and the bandage underneath is still on. So that means I had just gotten surgery like a couple days, like within those couple of days. And I did a video. Thanks, Sherry. I'm going to try to cover it as well as I can for you guys. I might even, oh no, you're fine, Dark Willow. And you guys are fine. I might even take a trip down there throughout all this and just have a look-see. It's an hour and a half from me now. I'm like, oh, if I didn't have 2 crazy dogs, I would go tomorrow after Thanksgiving, but I know that we're only going to be able to stay at my brother's for a couple of hours and have to head home because of the dogs. Because to there from here, I forget, but it's over an hour. Hour and 11 minutes and you look at nothing the whole way there. Maybe I'll do a live. That could be fun. Do a live from the car. Not like driving, because Vincent's driving. That could be fun though. Would you stop crying? What's the matter? She's crying. Vincent took them on a walk before I came on my live. So I don't know what she wants. So I'm gonna have to take her out to the side yard, I think. Because look at her. She's obviously needs something because she's crying at me. Are you crying to me? Do you need me? Mm-hmm. She said, mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to jump off here because my dog, yes, she does need me. Look at her. What? Look at that face. Look at that. Every day, all day, I see it. But I'm going to jump off of here. Thank you guys for spending your evening with me. I will have another episode. We'll do tomorrow. She might want a treat. No, she probably wants both. D Smith, you're absolutely right. It is. And it's crazy how we see this in a lot of cases. Like, the Oklahoma moms. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of cases like this, and it's so sad. You can have this dog, Dark Willow. She's like, can I pet that dog? Oh, you're cute, Mia. The other one has the sad doggy eyes. She has the facial expressions because her eyes are round instead of like more of an oval or something. The other one back here, just licking the crap out of her leg. she's the one that has the wrinkles, so it gets you every time. But happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you guys for coming tonight. I do appreciate it. I probably will do a live tomorrow. I mean, of course, I'm going to do a live tomorrow, but I don't know if I'll do one during the day or if it'll just be evening. But we'll make sure we get one in. I know that my brother said they'd be there around noon, but that probably means 1, 2 o'clock. You know how it goes. But thank you guys all for being here. If you guys don't mind, subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you here. We're going towards 20,000 subscribers, but I would love to hit 19,000 by, let me see. I had a goal. I can't remember what my goal was. Let's do 20,000 by Christmas. Like, can we do that? Can we just everyone subscribe? I need over 1,000, way over 1,000. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like button, all the things we ask you guys to do throughout the live. I do appreciate you guys being here tonight. You guys could be anywhere else, but you're here. So thank you. I'm going to go ahead and let the girls out. That way they don't have a fit. This one back here is biting air. She does that when she's playing. Bye, guys.